Let's move in. So you got out the Dam Neck. I'm guessing, just recently we've had probably, our greatest influence in the SEAL community pass away, and that was old Marcinko. And I had the honor of meeting him. God, what was I? I was on my way to BUD's, and he was in Houston doing a book signing, and so I showed up with my orders to BUD's, and I stood in line. I wasn't even nice enough to buy the book. I just stood there and waited till I got to him, and I just put my orders down and said, "Hey, this is where I want your signature, if you're cool with that." And he read it. He looked at it. He looks up at me. He's like, "Are you sure you want me to sign these things?" And I was like, "Fuck yeah." And he's like, "Okay, but don't get mad at me." And so he put his big old signature on there. And then I checked into BUD's, and they saw that, and I got hammered for, I don't know, the first week. Just got my ass handed to me for showing up with my orders signed by Dick Marcinko. So you get a chance to work with him? I'm guessing. I don't know your time frame.
Work with him, but I shared some time with him. My instructor cadre brought him around a little bit when we were going through selection.
Yeah.
And I met him at a couple of events outside of that. And then later, probably about 5 years ago now, 4 or 5 years ago, Army sniper Ed Eaton, Vietnam era, legendary sniper, is a good friend of mine. And Dick and Ed and I were all staying together in the same condo. We were all speaking at an event there and in Southern California on the beach, and we stayed up all night one night, yucking it up, and it was
man.
It was a time I'll never forget. Just hanging out with two legends and just sharing time and stories, and man, it was cool.
Yeah, Marcinko was a storyteller for sure. I forgot I was at an event in New York, and that was another time I ran into him and hung out with him, and yeah, I could just sit there and listen freaking 24/7 if he'd just keep going,
Yeah.
But legend. Specifically, what did you do when you're in the Marines?
I was in 0311, and I was going in to be in the Force Recon. And it wasn't until I was all the way in that I learned that they didn't have any budget or political backing for the Force Recon unit at that time. It was in the early 80s.
Yeah.
So they said, "Man, if you're serious about kicking the pants out of bad guys, you should have gone to the Navy. They got all the toys and the mission and the political backing." I'm like, "Okay, how do I get there from here?" And they said, "You can't." And so I did anyway.
So did you do your full, 4 years or
nope,
how did you?
I did two. And then I got out and I fought my way into the Navy. So that's why, on contracts later on, Clint, would be some austere, location, a combat zone, and the Marines would on 10 November would decide that they were going to celebrate the Marine Corps birthday, as they always do. They're like, "Sawman, get in here. We made a cake. We're going to sing the hymn." And I said, "Look, I was only in for 2 years." They're like, "So you're a Marine, get in here." And so after the first couple of times, I tried to I was only in for this long. They "So you're a Marine, you're one of us. Let's sing the Marine Corps hymn and celebrate the birthday." So it's just, once you're a Marine, you're always a Marine. They accept it and celebrate it. So that's kind of how it's always been.
Yeah. And it's cool. You got to check a couple of boxes in the military, which most people, don't do. They usually just stick with whatever, component they signed up for and go for either as long or as short as possible, depending on your job.
And to be honest, brother, and I've taught snipers, I've taught Marine Corps snipers, I've taught Navy SEAL snipers as an instructor and other agency snipers. And I'm telling you, a Marine will learn like that. You tell them and they're going to do it. Now, the team guy is going to try. He's going to try to cheat. He's going to find all the edges of the box, the whole perimeter, because he's thinking, right? He's trying, how can I do this better? Has it ever been done? Can I innovate? And it's humorous in some ways, but the Marine's going to do it like the way that you teach them. And it's just interesting to see the different methods of learning. But I think I think there's a lot of benefit to the Marine Corps culture of discipline.
Yeah,
the SEAL teams could benefit from. I'm not trying to say rein in pirates to try to make them saints, so to speak, as far as spec operators, but some of that discipline, that self-discipline as in the Marine Corps, I think would benefit the SEAL teams. I don't think you'd have as many guys going off on the drugs and the different things.
Yeah.
I think it would sharpen up things a little bit in some ways, but unique cultures, very different.
No doubt, man.
Polar opposites in some ways.
Yeah, exactly. And I've had this conversation several times where, people think SEALs have that same like higher level of like Marine Corps discipline. And it's like, nope, we pride ourselves on not having any of that. And it's kind of what sets us apart as special operations from everyone else. Cause we concentrate on the target, we concentrate on the work. And everything else is kind of secondary, and we don't get too hung up on it. But whereas the Marines, they get hung up on everything.
Yeah, that's a true statement as well. And one thing I really celebrate about the SEAL teams, especially having worked at the tier 1 levels, the guys, man, they're innovators, they're thinkers. They will develop a solution that nobody ever came up with before. When you got JSOC throws a problem on the table and says, here's something that is deemed impossible, figure out a solution. You got these guys, operators, not officers, operators, figuring out how to skin that cat. It's pretty inspiring to see where these guys, from practical knowledge and experience, dedicated to finding a solution for the American people. Here's a way that we can do this. And wow, that's bold. It's unconventional. And but can it be effective? And the answer is usually yes. Yeah. The guys, they know that it's their hide on the line that's going to go carry it out. So they're like, we can make this happen given the right tools, Right. So that was very inspiring experience for me. That's something I just carry inside. I don't talk about, but fantastic memories. So many guys I'm very impressed with. I'm proud to call brother. Yeah,
no doubt. Yeah, you nailed something. I mean, the Marine Corps with their level of discipline sometimes also puts them in a box where they don't get to really think outside of it. Whereas with our community, you're right. I mean, that innovation becomes because of like a little bit of that entrepreneurial spirit we allow each guy to have individually to go out and try different things, not be so rigid. And that lack of rigidity allows a lot of flexibility in thought process, tactics, and SOPs that other units just don't think about because they're kind of stuck, right? They're like, they automatically think, I can't do that. They'll get mad at me. Or we can't do that because we'll get in trouble. Whereas we're like, we'll get in trouble. This is perfect.
Let's see what happens.
Throw rocks with shit and hit things with sticks. Yeah, that'll work. Every board operator knows what I'm talking about. Let's just throw rocks at shit and hit things with sticks. You're listening to Can You Survive This Podcast? Thanks for tuning in. Please make sure to subscribe, rate, and share on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your favorite shows.